Hello and welcome back to another episode of Offensive. We're going to talk about the Badgers again today. Again, thank you everybody for watching these videos. Sorry I didn't get a chance to make one last week after the Oregon game. But, the Badgers are on bye this week. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the letter that Chris McIntosh wrote to the fans, the alumni, and everybody else that got a lot of pretty negative feedback. And a lot of people are worried that McIntosh is going to stick with Fickell for next year. Myself included. It sounds like maybe that's the plan. There's a lot of talk in this letter about how they need to invest more and things like that. I'm actually going to read it to you. I actually want to go through it and talk it, point by point. But I think the thing that I kind of realized when I saw the response from McIntosh is I think it is possible that his job is tied to Luke Fickell's, as in if Fickell fails, McIntosh might be out as well. There's a lot of people already calling for his head as it is. I am not one of those people. I think he's done a pretty decent job. And again, I understand the hiring of Luke Fickell. The problem is Fickell has been terrible. And not only has he been bad, but he's been dishonest. And he has not done things that a lot of college football coaches are expected to do, which is like attending meetings with high school coaches, lying about whether NFL scouts can come to practice. And he's been caught in all this stuff. And there's a lot of people out there that do not like him, that have voiced their opinions about Luke Fickell, about how he's not a good guy. He's not a trustworthy guy. And so I got to ask myself, why is McIntosh tying his horse to this guy? Why is he doubling down on this guy? Because McIntosh does not seem like he would make that kind of mistake. So I wonder if, they are intertwined. I wonder if McIntosh's job might be tied to Luke Fickell. Maybe he wants to wait it out and they want to do the Virginia model, as some people have suggested, where, by year 4, they were finally good. I mean, that just seems like an excuse to me. That's not a model. That might just be luck. You can't say that you need 4 years in this college football environment to find a way to win. That's garbage. Look at Indiana. Right? There's a bunch of other programs out there that can turn it around in 1 or 2 years. And I'm actually going to link an article for you guys that was written by, and I hope you get your name right, Rohan Chakravarthi. He wrote it in the Daily Badger Herald on October 8th about the glaring problem during the Luke Fickell era, which includes a lot of the transfers not working out, a lot of the guys that he recruited not working out, a lot of players leaving. Only a few guys left over from his first couple of recruiting classes, so not very good. So I'm going to link that down in the description for you guys. It's from Bucky's Fifth Quarter, and it's a really good article, and it goes into a lot of just the problems that Luke Fickell has been having since day one, basically, since day one. But I want to spend some time actually talking more about Chris McIntosh here, because if he is standing by Fickell and if Fickell is the coach next year, I think I can pretty much guarantee you that after Fickell has one more year, McIntosh is done and Fickell is done. If they're stuck together like this, I don't think McIntosh is going to have a job next year either once Fickell is gone, because Fickell's not going to turn it around. Everything I've seen so far has told me that Luke Fickell is incapable of coaching at a high level in a big conference. We've seen him succeed, yes, at Cincinnati, but we saw him fail pretty bad at Ohio State and miserably here at Wisconsin. They are the worst team in the Big Ten. Let me reiterate that. The Wisconsin Badgers are last in the Big Ten right now. They have the worst record. They're tied with Purdue. They are 0-5, and they have the worst record at 2-6, also tied with Purdue in the Big Ten. And they have been outscored by almost 200 to 30 in those Big Ten games. It's been an absolute destruction of the Badgers. So don't tell me this is because Fickell doesn't have a quarterback. Don't give me that. Every college goes through issues. Every college has quarterback injuries, but you don't always get blown out in every single game that you play. So, again, Fickell can't coach. I think that's pretty apparent. He's not going to work out in the Big Ten. He's not going to work out at the Badgers. And if McIntosh decides to keep him next year or through the end of this year, then maybe McIntosh can say goodbye to his job as well. So I kind of wanted to talk about Chris McIntosh. Let's see what he is, what he's done for the Badger program. So as a lot of you may know, he went to school, played football, drafted by the Seattle Seahawks, graduated, I believe, in 2000. Actually, I was at school at the same time as him. And, All-American offensive lineman, very, very talented offensive lineman, intelligent guy. He's been the athletic director since 2020. So let's go a little bit into his bio. So 2021, July 1st, 2021, he became the athletic director. He was offensive tackle from 1966 or 1996 to 1999. He's not that old. First consensus, first team All-American. And first generation college graduate. That's pretty cool. And he has got three national championships since he became the AD. One in women's volleyball, I'm sure we all remember that, and two in women's hockey. So pretty cool. 3 national championships. And yes, you can say it's women's sports, but I think that's cool. That matters to me. I definitely want an AD that's going to be good at football, but I want someone that pays attention to all the sports. Like, as someone who attended the university, I definitely want the track team to be good and the hockey team to be good and, the chess team to be good. Like, I just cheer for Wisconsin. So I don't necessarily want an AD that only cares about football. And, this guy's a football player. Obviously, he cares about the football program. I've never questioned that whatsoever, right? And we're going to get into that a little bit later in the letter, why people think maybe he hasn't been putting enough money in or like what the doublespeak is and that sort of stuff. I'm actually going to read that letter, but nowhere in my person do I believe that Christian McIntosh does not want the football team to succeed or has not given the football team like full attention. And it's weird that in his letter, he almost sounds like he's saying he didn't as an excuse to maybe cover up for Luke Fickell. I don't understand that at all. So again, let's talk about that. Let's read the letter, because a lot of people have kind of gone over it. I actually want to read it for you guys. I actually want to go through it. Now, this first couple paragraphs is a lot of fluff. Just to be clear, it's a lot of fluff. So on Saturday at Camp Randall, I was honored to join my former Rose Bowl champion teammates and coaches on the field as the university community celebrated our collective successes. My years as a student athlete at Wisconsin were among the best of my life. I love my teammates and coaches, our passionate fans, and the joy that Wisconsin football brings to our campus and the entire community, because he was on both of those Badgers Rose Bowl teams in 1998 and 1999. So my first 2 years at the school, they won the Rose Bowl. Pretty cool, right? It is with those experiences, along with my love and deep respect for our university, that I share in the disappointment with this football season to date. It has fallen well short of our standards at Wisconsin. We do not shy away from setting lofty expectations for our team, our coaches, and for myself. We embrace them and accept the responsibility of meeting those goals. While our coaches, staff, and student athletes continue to demonstrate the work ethic and values that represent UW football, the results simply are not what any of us wanted them to be. No doubts. Coach Fickle sees the potential in what this team can be, as do I. Cool. And he shares the same disappointment and frustration. Well, he better, because he's getting paid to win games, not lose them. I would be surprised if he was anything else. Our student athletes continue to stand and fight with character and pride as they battle through this moment of adversity, and they deserve all our support. Like I said, that's a bunch of fluff. Nothing there is important. He loves his school. He thinks Fickle loves his job, I guess. All right, so let's go to the next one. This one's a little bit more important. This is where a lot of people are digging into it, saying that it's pretty much a guarantee that Fickle's going to be back next year and that we haven't been putting money into the program, which I just got to say, I'm really confused by this statement. So let's go through this. While we still have a lot of football to play this season, with the support and significant involvement of Chancellor Mnuchin, if I say that right, sorry if I'm saying it wrong, athletics is committed to elevating the investment into our football program to position us to compete at the highest level. As a department, we must provide our coaches the tools necessary to succeed. Okay, pretty bland statement. That means more athletically funded investments into infrastructure, staffing, and most importantly, student athlete recruiting and retention. In this new era of collegiate athletics, the clear reality is that high expectations must be matched with an equal level of support. The result of this elevated support may not be immediate, but we are confident that the impact will be positive and long-term. So we need more money, because honestly, I think that's a BS excuse. I think that's 100% BS excuse. If you look at the endowment of the University of Wisconsin and the amount of money that we make in athletics, yeah, we're not Michigan or Ohio State. We get that. But we make a heck ton more than Indiana does. That's for sure. Do you know what I mean? We make more than Iowa does, or Minnesota, or Nebraska. Well, we're probably on par with Nebraska, to be fair, in most metrics, right? But they're beating the crap out of us. All of them are beating the crap out of us. So don't tell me we don't have enough money. Like, yes, we could use more money to get better recruits, but ultimately, at the end of the day, throwing money at the problem is not the best way to solve it in current college athletics. Throwing money at it might be what got us in this in the first place by throwing Fickell all this money and thinking he was the right guy. You made the mistake of hiring Fickell, and now you're tied to money, and it's too much to pay to fire him, but we need to put more in to get more recruits. That's my problem. We need more money in the college football program. Do we not have enough to fire him? Is that what you're trying to say? Can we not afford the $25 million? Because I'm pretty sure the money's there. And if you guys watched my last video, how every single university can use up to $20.5 million of their gross revenue, basically, to start paying college athletes. I mean, is that what he's talking about? Because guess what? Every school has that same thing. That's not advantage. There's no advantage for University of Wisconsin there. So why is money the problem? Are you saying you don't have enough money to fire him? Are you saying he wasn't given enough money? Because I think that's BS. And I just don't like that statement at all. I don't. Saying you need to invest more money basically tells us that you weren't doing your job in the first place, right? So he kind of makes himself look bad here. I really don't like this statement from him. I get where McIntosh is going, that yes, college football has changed. You can't just rely on, recruit and develop because there's so much turnover every year. I get that to a point, but you've got plenty of money to not be horrifically bad. Okay. It'd be one thing. And I think we all knew it when the Pac-12 schools came in and we got USC and we got Washington and Oregon. Like Wisconsin was knocked down a couple notches, right? Of like being around the top 5, top 6 schools, maybe in the Big Ten. Maybe we're closer to the 8th best school now as far as like the talent that we can bring in. Because let's be honest, Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, like Oregon for sure. USC should, but they seem to keep failing. Just have way more football prowess, football background, and power to recruit, right? Like, we can be honest, Iowa to a point, not really. I'd say Wisconsin has more recruiting power and more money than Iowa, but Iowa's consistent and Iowa didn't change who they are. They stayed the same and it's been working out for them. So let's go to the final one. So Wisconsin football and Wisconsin athletics are important to our campus, to our community, to our entire state, and to all our loyal fans and alumni. They matter deeply to Chancellor Nunkin. I got to learn how to say her name. I'm sorry. Who has been a strong partner since her arrival in Madison, and they matter to me. I bleed red and white, and I will not rest in the pursuit of our goals, fielding championship caliber teams, and delivering the pride and joy of success to a new generation of Badgers. You have my unrelenting commitment to do what is necessary to make that happen. Well, we better. That's your job. Thanks for your dedication, loyalty, and passion on Wisconsin. So the other thing I hate about this is that it says from the desk of Chris McIntosh. Like, just don't do that. Just don't do that. That's just so, I don't know. It's like almost pretentious. I kind of hate it. So, okay, you guys, sorry I read the whole letter. I wanted you to see it. There's been a lot of shows I've watched where they're like, I'm not going to bother reading it. And yeah, it's a lot of fluff and nonsense. Does it say he's sticking by Fickle next year? I don't really get that. Does it say we need more money? Yeah, that's kind of what I took from it, amongst all the other stuff. But I don't take that as an excuse whatsoever. That they don't have enough money. Again, we're not asking why you didn't win the national championship. We're asking why you are the worst team in the Big Ten, and no amount of money is going to fix how terrible Fickle is at coaching. There is no amount of money that's going to fix that. Do you understand? He has been outcoached and outclassed in nearly every single football game I have seen the Badgers play against competent competition. Every single one. It is without question a problem of the coach and not a problem of the money. Would we like more money as fans so we can get better players? Absolutely. Do you know what actually fixes that? Having the right coach, because the right coach brings in the right players and doesn't waste your money on the wrong ones. So again, read that article that goes over all the people and all the guys that Fickle have brought in and how they haven't worked out. So Fickle's brought in a lot of good football players that did not do anything for the university and do not do anything for the football team and eventually left. And that's on the coach. So, all right, let's go to something else. I want to show you guys something else because, this already happened this year. As you guys know, the last video that came out, James Franklin was, bought out pretty much like 2 hours after that happened. Brian Kelly just happened last week, right? So this is the list of all the coaches that have been bought out this year. So Big Ten, UCLA, Deshaun Foster, $5 million. Virginia Tech, Pry for $6 million. Gundy at Oklahoma State for 15. James Franklin, as you know, for 49. Billy Napier at Florida for 21. Brian Kelly at LSU for 54. So Penn State, Florida, and LSU expect to win. They paid a lot of money. Those are big football schools. Those are big football programs. Is McIntosh telling us that we are not a big football program, that we are not a big football school? Because, every single one of those, I think Penn State was like way back in the early 80s, but every single one of those programs have won a national championship. The Badgers have not, right? But the Badgers also have been to a number of Rose Bowls. They have an incredibly good record over the last 25 years. And yes, we don't have the push and pull of someone like Penn State or LSU or Florida for that matter. But I think as Badger fans, and I think a lot of the alumni would agree that we were right there, just below that level, and wanted to get to the next level. And we believed Fickle could potentially get us there. Well, that belief was misplaced. And you can't blame McIntosh for taking a chance on Fickle. He ultimately made a mistake, because I guarantee you right now, if Jim Leonhard was the coach, Wisconsin would be a lot better than they are today. A lot better than they are today. Would they be going for national championships? Maybe not, but they would not be the worst team in the Big Ten. And they are the worst team in the Big Ten by a margin, guys, because of the point differential. So, yeah, I don't understand why we cannot get rid of this guy. Other schools saw that they made a mistake and they corrected it. McIntosh needs to make that same decision or he's going to be gone. Now, I want to talk about something else, because there's a lot of talk out there. There's a lot of talk about how Fickle's a liar, and Fickle basically blocks off or like closes practice, doesn't let NFL scouts in. He calls and says, no, that's not true. And then people that are there says, no, it absolutely is true. He's lying. There's a lot of people in the business that say Fickle's a liar and he can't be trusted. And that's just a bad sign. That's a bad sign. Like, you don't hear that. You don't hear other coaches and other people in the industry talking bad about coaches very often. They might say they might not like the guy, or they don't get along, or he's a bit of a jerk, or he can be a hardhead. That stuff is kind of normal, because college football coaches obviously have a different set of, like, a different mentality than most of us normal humans. And it might not be that they're a good person, to be honest, but that's part of being a football coach that people have come to terms with. There's a difference when people say they hate the guy for how he is as a person, not as a coach, but as a person. They hate him. And there's a lot of worry that he's not recruiting from Wisconsin schools. And I just want to show you guys this chart. So this is Wisconsin high school recruits that went to UW since 2018. So 7 in 2018, 5 in 2019, 6 in 20 and 21, and then 4 in 2022. In Fickle's tenure, he brought in 1 guy in 2023, 3 guys in 2024, and 5 guys last year. And so far, 1 has recruited so far this year. So an average of 3 versus an average of about 5.6. So about half as many kids from the local area, from the local high schools. And there's talk that he doesn't talk to the high school coaches, or he doesn't go to events, and he doesn't get involved. And I got to say, a lot of this might be coming out because he's losing. I'm not saying every coach across the nation does everything right. A lot of this might come out because he's losing, but don't you think it's a problem when he's not doing things that coaches are expected to do, or not doing things with the local high school teams, or not keeping his promises, or not letting NFL scouts see the players? Like, can you imagine, even if it's not true, if I was a high school recruit and I heard that this coach is not letting NFL scouts into practice, like, and I'm a good player, there's zero chance I'm playing for that guy, right? Because, you got to imagine, the kids have an end goal here. And it's not always an education. Sometimes it's to set themselves up for life and play football, right? And I feel like Fickle's just out for himself, and he cannot be trusted. And I've seen just so many people who have come in contact with Fickle say things about him that are not kind. And you can look on sportscasts and programs and pods and on YouTube and in articles, and it's just a lot of bad stuff about the guy's character. And it all kind of makes me believe that he's never going to be successful. And I think you guys can see from the results that that's pretty obvious. Not only has Fickle not been successful, he has been a disaster for this university. And I think McIntosh, who I was not on the fire McIntosh train, until I think I saw this letter from McIntosh, which it just seems so like it's fallen on deaf ears. You understand? Like I almost feel like he's saying things to try to excuse himself or excuse the program, but it made him look worse. It just made him look worse. So McIntosh, you're a Wisconsin guy. I have no doubts that you love this school and you love this program and you're putting all your heart and effort into it. But do not tie your horse to Fickle. Do not tie to Fickle because you will lose your job. If Luke Fickell is the coach next year, it is not going to get better. It is not going to improve. He will be gone at some point, and you are probably going to go with him. So as a Badger fan and a Wisconsin lover and someone who wants to see you succeed, I really want to see you succeed, McIntosh. I think it's really cool that, a guy from Wisconsin, DePere, Wisconsin, was a Badger, got drafted into the NFL, very intelligent guy, came back to become the AD, handpicked by Barry Alvarez, right? Who we all love and respect. Like, I want you to do well. If you tie yourself to Luke Fickell and you do not get rid of him, you're not going to last. You're going to be gone too. And I don't want to see that happen. So the sooner the better that you get rid of Fickell. I said maybe wait till the end of the year. The sooner the better, McIntosh, to get rid of Fickell, because I don't want to see you gone. Not yet. I still like the idea of, someone I went to school with being the AD for Wisconsin. I don't know. Maybe I'm being selfish. I just like it. I like that it's a Wisconsin kid. I like that he's a football player, and he found his way to success. And I think McIntosh really cares about this university, and I really want him to succeed. So do the right thing. You know what you have to do. And money is not the problem. Don't give us that excuse anymore, please. Please. Okay. Money does not make you the worst team in the Big Ten. You got enough to not be that bad. And I think you know that. So anyway, everybody, that's my video for this week about the Badgers. I'll be back again next week. We'll talk about the results after the Washington game, maybe some more news coming out. We'll check the recruits again. And leave in the comments. What do you guys think? Do you guys, I think we all pretty much want Fickell gone. I don't know if I've met a Wisconsin Badger fan that doesn't, but do you guys want McIntosh gone too? I'd like to know. Put it down in the comments. Let me know if you think he should go too. Do you hold him responsible? Do you think he's waiting until the end of the year? Do you think this is part of the plan? Or do you think he's just made a poor decision and he's stuck with it and he's going to lose his job? Because I'm starting to think that. I'm starting to think that he might be stuck with Fickell for whatever reason, or he decided that he wants to stick with Fickell for whatever reason, and he's going to lose his job because of it, I feel like. So that kind of concerns me, because everything I read about Fickell is just not good. It's not good. And I don't want McIntosh to be dragged down with him. So thank you, everybody. Please like and subscribe. Thank you, everybody, again, for all the comments. Thank you, everybody who watches. Thank you, everybody who clicks the like. We really appreciate it here on this channel, Offsides. We're brand new this year. We're trying to figure out our way and figure out what kind of content we like and what you like. Basically, I'm trying to make something that I would want to watch, right? And hopefully you guys feel the same way. Hopefully you like it. So many people have been kind about it. And I just want to say thank you again on Wisconsin. And hopefully goodbye to Fickell. Have a good day.